I told him we should just be friends. He didn't understand at first, cried, begged, but in the end he understood. Everything was fine until I found out he invited his sister on the vacation he bought for us. When I asked if all three of us would go, he told me I was no longer invited. I've been seeing Caleb for about 8 months, and honestly, it was a pretty decent run for someone like me who is constantly being scouted by better opportunities. He's stable, he has a real job, and most importantly, he actually understood the assignment when it came to being an Instagram boyfriend. Every time we went out, he knew exactly how to find the light, how to angle the phone so my legs looked like they went on for days, and he never complained about waiting to eat until I got the perfect flat lay shot. He was basically a human tripod with a credit card, which is exactly the kind of energy a high-value woman needs in her life. I really felt like I was doing him a favor by letting him into my world and giving him the chance to be seen with someone who has a growing digital footprint. Despite all that, I recently realized that I am way too young and way too main character to be tied down to one person, especially someone as basic as Caleb. I'm an influencer, or at least I'm right on the verge of my big break, and being seen as taken by a guy who wears cargo shorts was starting to hurt my personal brand. I decided to be the bigger person and have a very mature, very necessary friend zone talk with him over matcha last week. I told him that my soul needed to soar and that I couldn't give him the girlfriend label anymore because it was stifling my creative flow. I expected him to be grateful that I was keeping him in my life at all, but instead, he made a total scene in the middle of the cafe. It was honestly so embarrassing because he started crying right there, begging me for another chance and asking what he did wrong. I had to keep reminding him that this wasn't about him, it was about my journey and my need to be authentically unattached from my followers. I stayed incredibly firm because a queen knows her boundaries, even when a man is literally falling apart in front of her. Eventually, he wiped his eyes and seemed to accept the bestie status I was offering him, which I thought was the end of the drama. I even told him we could still hang out and that I'd still let him take my photos because our creative chemistry was too good to waste. In my mind, everything was perfectly settled and we were moving into a beautiful platonic era where he still funded the lifestyle and I provided the aesthetic. I had already started planning my wardrobe for the luxury trip to Tulum. He booked for us months ago, which was supposed to happen next month. I've already spent a fortune on 3 new designer bikinis and a couple of silk wraps that are literally made for that specific infinity pool. It never even crossed my mind that the trip would be canceled just because our relationship status changed on Facebook. To me, a gift is a gift, and a friend would still want their bestie to have the content of a lifetime in Mexico. Then today, I was scrolling through my feed and I saw Caleb posted a story that literally made me drop my phone. He posted a picture of 2 passports and a beach emoji with the caption, "Can't wait to take my sister Chloe to Mexico." I felt like I had been slapped in the face with a low-resolution filter because that was supposed to be my trip. My first thought was that he was just being confused, so I swiped up and sent him a message asking if we were going as a trio now. I even joked that I could help Chloe with her poses since she's, well, let's just say she doesn't have the look for a high-end resort. The reply he sent back was so cold and honestly completely unprofessional for someone who claims to care about me. He said, "Madison, you're just a friend now. I'm taking someone who actually appreciates me and doesn't see me as a bank account." I was literally shaking as I read it because the audacity of this man is actually off the charts. He knows how much this trip meant for my engagement and my brand's growth during the spring season. To just take it away because I decided to be honest about my feelings is the definition of toxic masculinity. I tried calling him to explain that friends share experiences and that he was being incredibly petty over a simple label. He didn't even pick up the phone, just let it go to voicemail like a total coward. I can't believe he would choose to take his sister, who probably uses the Valencia filter in 2026, over a literal content creator. It's like he doesn't even realize that I'm the one who would have made those vacation photos go viral and brought some actual class to his profile. Now he's going to have a feed full of blurry pictures of his sister eating tacos while I'm stuck here with 3 bikinis and nowhere to wear them. It feels like he's intentionally trying to sabotage my career just because his ego is bruised. A real friend would be happy to take me to Tulum, let me have the primary bedroom and stay in the background while I do my work. Instead, he's acting like I'm some stranger he doesn't owe anything to, completely ignoring the 8 months of vibe I contributed to his life. It's so ungrateful of him to pull the rug out from under me like this after I was kind enough to offer him a spot in my inner circle as a best friend. I'm sitting here looking at my itinerary and I'm just devastated by how selfish people can be. I did everything right. I was honest, I was clear, and I even offered him the bestie consolation prize. And this is how he repays me? By giving my first-class seat to a girl who thinks a story is just something you read in a book? It's a total waste of a high-end aesthetic, and honestly, it's just bad luck that I happened to date someone so incapable of understanding the value of a high-profile friendship. Clearly doesn't understand that by excluding me, he's actually hurting himself more than he's hurting me. Those photos are going to be a total flop, and he's going to realize that without my direction, his life is just beige. I'm just so indignant that he would try to use a trip he already paid for as some kind of leverage. It's cheap. It's low class, and it really shows his true colors. I'm the victim here, and I'm not going to let him ruin my mood, even if my mood is currently furious and without a flight. Main story comments. Anonymous user 1 says, "Wait, you dumped the guy, tell him you only want to be friends, and you're actually mad he isn't paying thousands of dollars to take his bestie on a romantic getaway? The level of entitlement is genuinely breathtaking. You bought bikinis for a trip you aren't paying for and you think he's the one with the bruised ego? Please." Ops reply, "It's called loyalty, sweetie. Friendship isn't a transaction. It's about supporting each other's dreams. You already paid for the trip, so what does it matter if I'm the one in the photos? It's a waste of a good aesthetic to take someone who doesn't even know how to edit. You clearly don't understand how the industry works." Anonymous user 2 says Caleb is a legend for this. Taking his sister instead of a girl who literally just admitted she only saw him as a human tripod with a credit card is the ultimate king move. Chloe is going to have the best time while you stay home and content create in your living room. Ops reply, "King move? More like petty move. Chloe doesn't even have a following. Those photos are going to get zero engagement." It's a tragedy for the resort, honestly. They're losing out on the exposure I would have given them. But sure, celebrate his lack of vision if you want. Update 1. It's been 2 days since my last update, and I honestly haven't been able to sleep because the injustice of this situation is just eating at me. I finally decided to reach out to Caleb again because I felt like he just needed a little bit of guidance to see how much he was overreacting. I sent him a very long, very well thought out text explaining the true meaning of friendship and how it involves keeping promises you made when things were different. I told him that as my newly appointed best friend, he should be my biggest cheerleader and want to see my brand flourish in a tropical setting. I even made a huge concession and offered to tag him in every single one of my posts from the resort so he could finally get some reflected engagement from my followers. I sat there watching the little typing bubbles for what felt like an eternity, but he kept disappearing. It took him 6 hours to respond, and when he finally did, he just sent a emoji. A thumbs up? To a queen who just offered him a full-scale digital collaboration? I was so insulted that I felt my blood pressure rising. It was the ultimate sign of disrespect and a total lack of appreciation for the value I bring to the table. I didn't hesitate for a second and called him immediately to tell him exactly how petty he was being. I explained to him that friends don't send thumbs-up emojis to long-form emotional messages. I told him that my dream right now is that specific infinity pool in Tulum. And as a friend, he has a moral obligation to help me achieve that dream since the logistics were already handled. He tried to interrupt and say something about boundaries and moving on, but I didn't let him get a word in because my logic was undeniable. I told him that by taking Chloe, he was basically telling the world that he doesn't value quality content or my personal happiness. I really laid it on thick about how much I've done for his social image over the last few months. To my surprise, he actually started to quiet down and listen, which I knew he would eventually do because deep down, he knows I'm right. He finally sighed and said, "You're right, Madison. Friends should support each other." I literally felt a wave of relief wash over me because I knew my influence was working its magic. He told me that we should meet tomorrow to talk about how we can make the Tulum trip work. As friends, I knew he'd fold men like him. Always realize they can't actually navigate the world without a woman of my caliber giving them direction. I've already started packing my carry-on because I'm so confident that I've managed to fix his distorted perspective. I even started looking at some bestie caption ideas that would make it look like we're just two elevated individuals traveling together without any messy romantic drama. It's going to be so much better this way because I won't have to deal with him trying to hold my hand in the shots. I can just focus on the wardrobe changes and he can focus on holding the reflector. It's a win-win for everyone involved, especially for his boring Instagram feed. I spent the rest of the evening looking at sunset times in Mexico and mapping out the best spots for my soft launch into the single but luxury lifestyle. I'm thinking of doing a series on how to travel with an ex-bestie because it's such a relatable and high-value topic. People need to see that you don't have to lose your perks just because you lost interest in the person providing them. It's all about how you frame the narrative and keep the provider feeling like they're still part of something important. Caleb is lucky I'm willing to put in the work to keep our connection mutually beneficial, even if the benefit is mostly on my end. I'm feeling so much more positive now that he's seen reason and realized that he can't just give away my vacation to his sister. Chloe can go to the beach anytime, but I have a schedule to keep and followers who are expecting a certain level of luxury. I'm sure once we sit down tomorrow, he'll apologize for being so dramatic and we can get back to business. I might even let him pick one of the restaurants for dinner as a reward for finally acting like a supportive friend. It's all about positive reinforcement when you're dealing with someone who is still learning how to be in the presence of greatness. I've already decided which outfit I'm going to wear to our meeting to remind him of exactly what he's missing, but in a "we're just friends" kind of way. It's a very subtle power move that always works on him. I'm going to be so gracious and kind when he admits he was wrong because that's what a true leader does. I'll probably even give him a hug, a platonic one, obviously just to show there are no hard feelings. Everything is finally falling back into place and I can almost taste the coconut water from the resort already. Update 1 comments. Anonymous user 1 says, "Wait, you think is an insult, but you think offering to tag him in exchange for a $5,000 trip is a collaboration? You aren't a queen, Madison, you're a delusional leech. The fact that you're already packing shows how little you respect him as a person." Ops reply, "My tags have actual market value, unlike your opinion. If he wanted to hire a professional marketing consultant, it would cost him way more than a flight. He's lucky I'm even offering to associate my brand with his profile at this point. It's called an exchange of services." Anonymous user 2 says, "Let's talk tomorrow about how we can make this work." Is the most obvious trap I have ever heard in my life. Caleb isn't folding. He's preparing to drop the hammer. I cannot wait to see what happens at this meeting. Ops reply, "It's not a trap. It's him realizing he can't navigate life without my direction. He's always been a bit lost when I'm not calling the shots. He's just coming to his senses because he knows the trip would be a disaster without me there to curate it. Stop being so cynical." Update 2. It's been 24 hours since my last update, and I am actually in a state of shock. I went to the coffee shop today feeling like a total boss, carrying my iPad with the full Tulum itinerary and my outfit mood boards all ready to go. I even bought him a coffee as a friendship gesture, assuming we were just going to iron out the flight details and get on with our lives. But when I walked in, Caleb wasn't sitting there with a smile or an apology. He was sitting there with a thick manila folder and a look on his face that I didn't recognize. He didn't even say thank you for the coffee, which was the first red flag that things were about to get weirdly low vibe. He told me to sit down and said that since I had insisted friends share everything, and friends support each other, he had spent the night thinking about how to make our friendship more equitable. I thought he was going to suggest we share the photography duties or something, but then he opened a folder. Inside was a printed spreadsheet that was multiple pages long, detailing every single gift and mimo he's bought me in the last 6 months. He had everything in there. The designer bags, the dinners at 5-star restaurants, the spa days, and even the Uber XLS he ordered for me when I didn't want to walk 2 blocks. He called it the friendship equity adjustment. I felt my jaw literally drop as he started going through the numbers like some kind of cold-blooded accountant. He told me that since we aren't a couple anymore, he's no longer in the provider role. And since friends don't let friends pay for everything, I need to show my friendship by paying him back. He's demanding that I reimburse him for 50% of every single expense on that list before he'll even discuss the Tulum trip. He looked me right in the eye and said that if I'm as high value as I claim to be, I shouldn't have any problem covering my half of the friendship. It was the most calculated, insulting thing I have ever experienced in my entire life. I tried to tell him that those were gifts and that you don't ask for gift money back because that's literally low-class behavior. I told him he was being a logistical nightmare, and that a real bestie wouldn't hold a spreadsheet over someone's head like a weapon. He just shrugged and said that true friendship is built on balance, and that he was just trying to follow my lead on how we should treat each other. It's like he took everything I said about being friends and twisted it into some kind of financial trap to humiliate me. He even had the nerve to say that once the balance is cleared, he'd be happy to let me pay for my own half of the Mexico trip and we could go as equals. The total amount he's asking for is, well, it's more than I have in my liquid assets right now because I've been reinvesting all my capital into my look. I told him he was being incredibly cruel and that he was basically trying to bankrupt my brand before it even fully launched. He just sat there sipping his coffee, the one I paid for, and told me I had until Friday to make the first payment if I wanted my name back on the flight reservation. I couldn't believe the person I thought was my simp could turn into such a financial dictator overnight. I left the cafe without saying another word because I was too disgusted to even look at him. This is clearly a move to control me and punish me for having the courage to set boundaries in our relationship. He's using money to try and force me back into a position where I have to rely on him, which is so incredibly toxic. I'm a queen, and queens don't get billed for the time they spend, gracing someone with their presence. It's like he thinks my time and my image don't have a monetary value that far exceeds some dinners and a couple of bags. I'm currently back at my apartment, and I've been going through the spreadsheet trying to find errors, but the man kept every single receipt. It's honestly scary how much he was tracking behind my back while pretending to be happy to help. I feel so betrayed that he would keep a ledger of our love as if it were a business transaction. It just goes to show that you never really know a person until you stop giving them what they want. He's showing his true petty colors, and it's making me feel physically ill to think about how much I trusted him. I've been trying to think of a way to flip this on him, but he's being so stubborn about the friendship equity thing. He keeps saying that besties don't exploit besties, which is just a direct attack on my lifestyle. I'm not exploiting anyone. I'm providing a service by being the beautiful, influential person in the room. If he can't see the value in that, then he's the one who's failing as a friend. I'm just so indignant that he would try to turn my own logic against me like this. It's unfair, it's ungrateful, and it's honestly just bad vibes all around. Update 2 comments. Anonymous user 1 says, friendship equity adjustment is the greatest thing I have ever heard. Caleb literally used your own "we're just friends" logic to invoice you for the girlfriend experience you're no longer providing. Karma is a spreadsheet, Madison, and it looks like you're in the red. Ops reply, it's not logic, it's harassment. You don't give someone a gift and then send them a bill 6 months later. That's low class and honestly probably illegal. He's just trying to stay relevant in my life by creating a financial tie. It's pathetic. Anonymous user 2 says, can you actually afford to pay him back? Because it sounds like your high-value lifestyle was actually just Caleb's bank account. If you can't pay the 50%, maybe you aren't the main character you think you are. Ops reply, that's not the point at all. The point is the principle of the matter. A supportive bestie doesn't become a logistical nightmare over some pocket change. I have plenty of assets, but I shouldn't have to liquidate them just because he's having a temper tantrum. Update 3. It's been 3 days since my last update, and things have gone from bad to literally unhinged. I tried to play the emotional card and sent Caleb a voice note crying. Which, let's be real, I'm very good at saying that I'd have to sell my designer clothes and half my skincare fridge just to pay him back. I expected him to soften up and say it was all a joke, but he just replied with a shrugging emoji and said, a real friend wouldn't want me to be financially exploited, right? The way he's throwing my own words back at me is so incredibly cruel and calculated. It's like he's been waiting for this moment to strike, which is honestly so scary when you think about it. I realized that the Madison rules of friendship I tried to establish were being weaponized against me by someone who clearly doesn't have the sophistication to use them correctly. He keeps insisting that everything between friends should be a transaction of mutual respect, which apparently means I pay for my own existence now. I tried to post a sad girl reel yesterday, looking all pale and tragic with a caption about how Sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who hold you back from your dreams. I didn't mention him by name, but I knew my followers would get the hint and start a witch hunt against whoever was hurting their queen. Well, the plan completely backfired because Caleb actually had the audacity to comment on the reel. He didn't even use words. He just posted a high-resolution screenshot of the spreadsheet showing the $12,000 friendship balance I owe him. I had to delete the post within 10 minutes because the comments turned into a complete dumpster fire. People weren't bashing him. They were calling me a financial parasite and an influencer grifter. I was literally hyperventilating as I watched my engagement turn into a negative feedback loop of people mocking my high-value status. I called him screaming, telling him he was ruining my brand on purpose and that he's a total hater. He just laughed, actually laughed, and told me that if the money isn't in his account by Friday, he's officially moving Chloe into the first-class upgrade on the Tulum flight. He said she's been wanting to see what the influencer life is like, and he's happy to show her on my dime. I can't even describe the level of rage I'm feeling right now. He's literally giving my life to his sister, who probably thinks a reel is something you use for fishing. I've been trying to reach out to some of my other friends to see if anyone wants to go on a last-minute trip, but everyone is suddenly busy or saving money. It's like as soon as the luxury stops being free, everyone disappears. It's so lonely at the top, especially when your climb was being funded by someone who turned out to be a total snake. I'm stuck in my apartment looking at those 3 new bikinis, and honestly, they just look like a reminder of everything Caleb is trying to steal from me. He's not just taking a trip, he's taking my dignity. I even tried to negotiate a payment plan where I would give him a shout out on my main feed every month for a year, but he said his brand didn't need the negative associations. The level of shade in that comment was so unnecessary. He's acting like I'm some kind of liability when I'm the best thing that ever happened to his social life. I'm just so bitter that he's ruining my engagement on purpose just to prove a point. He's a hater, plain and simple, and he's using my career as a pawn in his little revenge game. I'm starting to realize that I might actually not make it to Mexico, and the thought of my followers seeing me in my living room instead of an infinity pool is giving me literal hives. I need this content to stay relevant, and he knows that. He's holding my career hostage because I wouldn't be his girlfriend anymore. If that isn't the definition of a toxic, manipulative man, I don't know what is. I'm the one who's being victimized here, but everyone online is acting like I'm the villain just because he can make a spreadsheet. I have 48 hours left to come up with the money or I'm officially replaced. I've been looking at my closet and trying to decide what I can live without, but everything is so essential to my look. How am I supposed to be an influencer if I don't have my vintage bags? This is a total nightmare, and it's all because Caleb decided to stop being a simp and start being a logistical nightmare. I'm just so exhausted by the lack of support in my life right now. Update 3 comments. Anonymous user 1 says watching that sad girl reel get nuked in real time was the highlight of my week. You tried to weaponize your followers against him and he just dropped the receipts like a boss. Financial parasite is a bit harsh, but if the shoe fits, Madison. Ops reply he's ruining my engagement on purpose. He's a hater. It's easy to look like the boss when you're holding someone's career hostage with a spreadsheet. You clearly have no idea how much work goes into maintaining a brand like mine. It's not parasitic to expect support from your inner circle. Anonymous user 2 says at this point, just stay home and save what's left of your dignity. You've already been exposed, and trying to sell your clothes to pay for a friendship trip is just sad. Take the L and move on. Ops reply, I can't just stay home. My followers expect travel content. I need this for my brand's survival. Dignity doesn't get you brand deals, but being in Tulum does. You wouldn't understand the pressure of being a public figure. I have to make this work. Update 4. It's been a week since my last update, and my life has officially entered its dark aesthetic era, but not in a cool, curated way. I couldn't pay, obviously. I spent 3 days trying to renegotiate with Caleb, but he eventually just stopped responding altogether and blocked me on everything. The final straw was when I woke up Friday morning and saw a notification that he had tagged Chloe in a photo at the airport lounge. They were clinking mimosa glasses with the caption, "Upgrade complete." No drama, just vibes. I threw my phone across the room and actually broke one of my luxury candles. I'm currently stuck in my apartment, and to make matters worse, it's been raining for 4 days straight, so the lighting is absolute trash. To keep up appearances and stop the bleeding of my follower count, I've been forced to post throwback photos from a trip I took 3 years ago. I've been captioning them with vague things like secret location and unplugging to find my soul, pretending I'm actually in Mexico but just being low-key. It was working for a minute, and I was starting to feel like I could at least fake the success until I figured out my next move. But then, disaster struck in the most low-class way possible. One of my so-called friends, who I haven't even talked to in months, noticed the old floral wallpaper in the background of one of my resort shots. She commented, "Wait, isn't that the hotel we stayed at in 2023? They haven't had that wallpaper since the renovation." Within an hour, the comment had hundreds of likes and people started cross-referencing my secret location with my old posts. Now everyone knows I'm not in Mexico, and the grifter labels are coming back 10 times harder than before. My follower count is dropping faster than my self-esteem, and I have absolutely no new content to save it. I tried to go to a nice cafe yesterday just to get some brunch vibes, but I realized I couldn't even afford the avocado toast and a latte because Caleb was always the one paying for our outings. I had to walk out pretending I forgot my wallet, which was the most humiliating moment of my life. It turns out that without a simp to fund the movie of my life, I'm not even a lead actress anymore. I'm just an extra in a very boring, very broke reality. I tried to call a few other guys I've been networking with to see if anyone wanted to fly me out somewhere. But as soon as they realized I was looking for a provider and not just a collab, they all got very busy, very quickly. It's like the word has gotten out that I'm a logistical nightmare to date. My DMs are a ghost town, and even the brands that used to send me free leggings have gone silent. I'm sitting here in a dark apartment, wearing a designer robe I might have to sell on a resale app just to pay my phone bill. The worst part is that I'm actually starting to miss Caleb, but not even for the money. I miss having someone who would spend 3 hours taking photos of me without complaining. I miss having someone to blame when things went wrong. Now, when I look in the mirror, there's no one there to hold the light for me. And I'm starting to see flaws that I never noticed before. The reality of my situation is hitting me like a non-organic face scrub. I'm alone, I'm broke, and I'm irrelevant. I saw a photo Chloe posted this morning of her and Caleb laughing on a boat. She looks happy, her hair is a mess, and her outfit is basic, but people are actually commenting nice things on her post. It makes no sense. Why does she get the luxury life when she doesn't even have a niche? It's so unfair that the world rewards people who don't even try while people like me who dedicate their lives to the aesthetic are left in the rain. I'm literally the most hardworking person I know, and this is where it got me. I tried to send Caleb one last email since he blocked my number, telling him that I was willing to forgive him and try again as a couple. I told him I realized that true love is more important than true friendship, and that I was ready to be his girlfriend again. He didn't even reply. He just sent an automated, out-of-office reply that said he was busy enjoying life without the baggage. The baggage. I have never been so insulted in my entire life. But now I'm just sitting here watching my digital empire crumble while I wait for my order of instant noodles to cook. I've had to turn off my comments because the financial parasite jokes were getting too creative. I'm honestly considering deleting my accounts and starting over, but I don't even know who I am without my followers. I've spent so much time being a high-value woman that I forgot how to just be a person who pays for her own coffee. It turns out that being the main character is a lot harder when you have to pay for the script yourself. I'm bitter, I'm angry, and I'm honestly just disgusted by how easily people can just move on from you. Caleb is in the sun, Chloe is in first class, and I'm in a rainy apartment with a broken candle. It's a total aesthetic failure, and I honestly don't know if I'll ever be able to filter my way out of this one. I guess this is what happens when you try to be honest in a world that only cares about who's holding the credit card.